Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. You are my mother, you are my father, you are my lover, you are my friend, you are riches, you are wisdom, you are my all to me.
Oh, you are my mother, you are my father, you are my lover, you are my friend, you are riches, you are wisdom, you are my all to me. You are my all, you are my all, you are my all to me. Twameva mata chapita twameva, twameva bandhus chasaka twameva, twameva vidya dramina twameva, twameva savam mama deva deva. Twameva vidya dramina twameva, twameva savam mama deva deva. Oh, you are my mother, you are my father, you are my lover, you are my friend, you are riches, you are wisdom, you are my all to me. You are my all, you are my all, you are my all to me. Namaste, fellow pilgrims. Here we are once again. This is the last class in our 6-class series in energy medicine. And in this class, we're working on the ultrasonic core. The core is the nucleus. It is the source, everything. It is the cause, everything else is the effect. There are a lot of the most effective healing, hands-on healing today comes from work that works with the integrity of this ultrasonic core and the integrity of feeling um, the resonance of this core energy throughout the body, the zero balancing, the cranial, the all focus on this neutral energy, this sattvic energy that entrains with the source. So in this ultrasonic core energy balancing session that we're focusing on in our hands-on work, we've been focusing on body armoring and how our natural state is space, freedom, unobstructed motion, ether, pure space, unobstructed motion. But when there's a threat to this vulnerable ego, the mind obsesses on that threat. Again, our nature is ether, space, unobstructed motion. But when there's a threat to that harmony and peace, when there's a threat to that space, the mind is activated and begins a process of mental movement. The mind races and obsesses, looking for some way in fire. The mind is air, goes steps down from ether to air, movement to fire, action, directed energy. looking for some way to restore that freedom, restore that homeostasis, restore that balance. And if it's able to do that, we're able to let let's say, first of all, mentally, if it says just don't worry about it, we let go on the level of air, back to space. Or possibly we'll look for some way in fire, action, to take an action that restores the equilibrium. We do something that uh, enables us to feel safe again. But if not, it becomes the obsession goes on and becomes water fixation. That the ego is so vulnerable; it's so easily threatened. We fixate on these threats for hours, days, months, years, decades. I remember my dear mother at 96 years old was still, her mind was still focusing on some things that happened when she was a teenager. And when we obsess on the fixation, on the threat to this vulnerable ego, we are not merely sensing mental, we are not just thinking about it, but the body is a microcosm of creation. And when we think about it, we're and obsess on it, we're sending a myriad of confused and contradictory mental and emotional impulses into the musculature. And these impulses harden as what we call body armoring, emotional armoring. If you think about your own experience of obsessing on a threat after during stress, shock, or trauma, it's not mental. You can literally feel your body jerking as you wake up from a dream, as the impulses wake you up, or as you're just sitting at the table thinking you're eating, but you're not present. Your body's uh, halfway down the street in action as you're trying to address whatever it is that it's going to take to reestablish your security or meet the obligations that would reestablish your security. So we're talking about obsession and the power of obsession, and the obsession as the basis of emotional wounds. And we're talking about this amazing work that we get from Dr. Randolph Stone, which allows us to address shock, stress, trauma, and to release emotional armoring from the body mind, to release emotional armoring from the nervous system. So first of all, there's this amazing understanding of the elements, these elemental keynotes, that the body is a microcosm of creation. So first is this understanding or theomorphic model that the body as everything is a microcosm of the uh, creative, uh, of the dynamics of creation, and we personify the dynamics of creation, that we personify the seven heavens, in a sense, the seven lokas, the seven uh, steps, the seven harmonics, uh, 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 which define uh, the the play of consciousness into form in our dimension. So energy is always moving from above to below, from within to without in an energy field. And at the square of its distance from the center, it drops in vibration from ether, omnipresence, to air, the tremendously harmonious movement of energy in nature, to fire, directed energy, to water, to embodied energy, and to earth, the boundary of the field. So every energy field is earth, a boundary, water, the life medium, fire, the functional energy, air, the intelligence, the feedback mechanism that maintains the integrity of the field, and then ether, the cognizance which defines the space and mediates between the space of this field and the space of all fields. That ether is mediating between these subtle universal elements, the akasha, and the gross material elements that underlie the physical body. Cross culturally and transhistorically, the science of the ancients was based on this dynamic. And whether we're talking about yang and yin, uh, the expansive and contracting breath, the universality of the life breath, whether we're talking about solar and lunar, the dynamics of every system of traditional wisdom, whether we're talking about rajas and tamas, um, fire and water, we're talking about these, whether we're talking about the four directions, we're talking about these same dynamics. Cross culturally and transhistorically, the science of the ancients was based upon the East, rising of the sun, the South, the warmth of the day, the West, the wisdom of the past, and the North, the inspiration of the ancestors. So we're talking about the body as a microcosm of creation, as every energy always is theomorphic, always moving in the dynamic of from within to without, above to below, involutionary, and from evolutionary, below to above, without to within. Energy is always cyclical. Life is always breathing. And that cycle is a breath from within to without, above to below, and then without to within, below to above. Energy is always inspiration and expiration. And everything that lives is moving through this cycle of yang and yin, solar and lunar attunement. One of the unique insights of this work is your body is a musical instrument that has been created and is sustained by its attunement to nature and the cosmos. That musical instruments have always been made of guts and hide before plastic, and that your body is made of guts and hide. And as you breathe, the tissue on molecular and cellular levels and in the macrocosm is brought through a process of natural and cosmic attunement. As you breathe, first there's a lengthening of the tissue on a cellular and molecular levels, which changes the attunement of the energy field to sattva guna and a source of equilibrium, the source. Then, as we continue to breathe, the tissue radiates outward into rajas guna, inspiration, respiration. The tissue will expands. Fire is the field that goes from within to without, give a dimension. So Rajas says the field radiates as an expression of fire and entrains with the solar force, which gives us this vital energy, this creative energy of the sun. And then as the diaphragm descends, we move into a lunar attunement, which attunes us to material expression of earth and water, of form and cleansing. So every cycle of the breath is an attunement to nature and the cosmos, to the keynotes of the music of earth, water, fire, air, ether, that these are the realities which underlie that your body has been created in the harmonics of these fields and is sustained by its attunement to the harmonics of this field. Our body is a cell in the body of Gaia. Again, atmosphere. The spheres of atmos is the Greek word for breath. And we grow within the rhythms, the proportional harmonics, the life breath of a living earth. And our body has been created within the rhythms from macrocosm to microcosm of the harmonics of this life breath, and has been created and is sustained by its attunement to the rhythms of this harmonics of the atmosphere, the spheres of life breath of a living earth. As we said before, the golden ratio is a mathematical expression of the universal life breath, the breath of Brahman. And the golden ratio allows every level of microcosm and macrocosm to nest. The word universe means one coil. The word universe means one coil, and the mathematics of that one coil, that one archetype, that is the golden ratio, the 1.618033988 dash dash dash. That this allows every level of it, everything breathes in oneness, and the golden ratio is the mathematics of that oneness. And throughout nature, you'll find a ubiquity of the golden ratio in everything that breathes and in every form, because form is an expression of the underlying energy that is the framework and the resonant pattern that gives birth to form. So this was the illustration that I wanted you to look at for a moment. Our body is a cell in the body of Gaia. We grow within the proportional harmonics of the rhythms of the life breath of a living earth. The golden ratio is the mathematical expression of the universal life breath, the breath of Brahman. That energy fields are able to nest from quark to galaxy because they're all attuned to the same coil, the coil of the golden ratio spiral. That the same breath is able to breathe from the microcosm of the quark to the macrocosm to the galactic macrocosm, wherever that may lie. Today we're focusing on working with the ultrasonic core, and one of the most, we looked at it last week, and I want to look at it again. We've been talking about our bodies being mammalian bodies that have developed over the hundreds of millions of years of mammalian evolution, if you go along with that model. And as mammals, we've been in the food chain since the beginning, and our nervous system is designed to allow us to survive. So that the example I'll always use is you're a lizard lying in the sun, basking in this solar warmth, taking in this solar energy, and as soon as you sense that cat coming along, ready to pounce on you in an instant, your nervous system has to be able to react instantaneously and get you moving. So on one moment, you're lying in the sun, basking in the sun, just in the deepest state of relaxation, taking in that solar nourishment and body building. And we call this a parasympathetic state of deep, where all of your energy is turned inward for nourishment. And when there's a threat, immediately your nervous system shifts from parasympathetic to sympathetic, and all of the energy moves from the core to the periphery for fight or flight. Every element of bodily process is transformed from nourishing and body building to fight or flight and to saving you so you are not cat food. So our nervous system, many would argue, is set up the same way. It has two modes: of sympathetic, turn withinward for rest, relaxation, nourishment, and parasympathetic, fight or flight, and where every organ in the body shuts down for survival. Now, one of the real gifts of Dr. Stone's work is that he understands how to release this holding from the body. So we're talking about what we were talking about a few minutes ago. We're talking about this whole process of energy moving from ether, freedom, unobstructed motion, psychic space, to air, the mind movement of when there's a threat, to fire, looking for some way to resolve that threat and restore psychic space again, to restore freedom, and how we obsess on a threat and the confused and contradictory impulses become emotional armoring. So what we're talking about is that obsession sends a myriad of confused and contradictory emotional impulses down the central nervous system to be given birth here in the pelvis, and that these confused and that we call this point here the chordia equina. Anatomically, this is called the chordia equina, where the central nervous system branches out into what looks like a horse's tail, where thousands of nerves radiate out of the center and into the musculature of the iliopsoas muscles and the pelvic girdle and down into the perineum. That these nerves are meant to take this impulse, this inner impulse, and give birth to it uh, through the solar plexus, where you express your personal power from the fire center below the navel and into the pelvis, where you give birth to your self-expression, into the thighs, where you walk your talk and give birth onto the earth. Um, Now, what happens is when we don't feel water is our ability to make a connection with others. And when we don't feel safe to express our needs and to reestablish that safety, we obsess without really expressing that action. And the confused and contradictory impulses become hardened as body armoring here in the pelvic girdle and perineum. And the perineum is the pelvis is the negative pole of the brain, the emotional pole of the brain. It's the water expression of mental impulses. And so what happens is this armoring in the pelvic girdle and perineum, the sacrum, the perineum is like a hammock attached to the sacrum, and the sacrum is moving within the pelvic girdle. That when this area becomes armored, the fluidity and mobility of the sacrum become inhibited, and instead of the central energy and the microcosm here of the theomorphic step down being able to express higher intelligence, we become dominated by the negative field. We become dominated by instinctual and negative forces. We become fear driven, and the extreme, we become a real asshole. And you lose touch with a higher intelligence and a higher wisdom and a higher inspiration and guidance, and you're in survival mode. So one of the beauties of polarity therapy is we learn to address and to clear this reaction to trauma and stress from the body instantaneously. That in Dr. Stone's perineal therapy, I know it sounds a little invasive when we talk about perineal therapy, but it isn't. The work we're doing here is done at the tailbone and at the buttock, where we're able to release the perineal diaphragm by simply bringing in some positive energy into the field. It begins to scatter the negative energy, and instantaneously, we can move the client from having their life run by fear, stress, shock, trauma, unconscious forces into being into having their sacrum fluid and mobile, having their pelvis opened up, and I cannot tell you how many times I've done this work, and it was like a turning point in the person's life from being run by the past, run by obsession, run by fear and negative and unconscious instinctual forces for survival, and moving into a new period of inspiration and wholeness and well-being and personal power. So that is the work that we're learning today. So so in this one chart from Dr. Stone's evolutionary energy charts, which you'll find in his collective works, we're looking at the contacts which release the holding in the sympathetic nervous system. We've been talking about the way mental impulses move down the central nervous system here, move down through the central nervous system, and are expressed through the sympathetic ganglion. The ganglion are concentrations of nerves, and between each vertebrae, there's foramen. There are holes where the nerves, where the ganglion, the bunches of nerves, then express to send nerve impulses to different organs and muscles of the body. So what we understand, so that we're talking about how obsession sends a myriad of confused and contradictory impulses into the sympathetic ganglion, which harden the ganglion, uh, and um, and that's what we call emotional armoring. And beyond that, also harden into the musculature. So, by understanding the polarity of the sympathetic nervous system, we can very easily and skillfully release the holding in the sympathetic ganglion and the sympathetic nervous system. The negative field contacts are here at the ganglion of impair. Again, a ganglion is a bunch of nerves here at the root chakra, at the sacrococcygeal juncture. So typically, we make a contact on the buttock with the line of force focused on the sacrococcygeal juncture. So the right thumb is, you ask the client's permission to touch their buttock. The client's lying on their left side in a fetal position. I'm sorry, the client's lying uh, face down. We make a contact on the buttock, focused on the with the thumb focused on the line of forces, focused on the cossack. Then with the left arm, we're going to take the elbow, and the elbow. Uh-oh, did I not go into the screen share? Zoom, screen share. I think I'm okay. So here, once again, just in case I didn't have that illustration up a minute ago, we're looking at the dynamics of the polarity, neutral, positive, negative, the flow of energy in that underlies the sympathetic nervous system in the macrocosm of the body, and we're looking at the occiput and the sympathetic chain, the sympathetic ganglion here in the lamina groove alongside the spine. You're never making a contact directly on the spine. You're interested in the sympathetic ganglion, which are radiating from the spine, and we have the lamina groove here. Um, so you're never midline on the spine. You take your elbow, which is at the same level as your navel, and is an expression of this fire. It's a very, think about what your elbow does, how it lifts, how it moves. The elbow is a very powerful source of fire, and a place where, again, energy steps down through the muscles into the tendons. Um, and the elbow is a place where we can really move a lot of really fiery energy, strong energy, yang energy into the client's energy field. So we're going to make a contact with our right thumb, clients lying on their belly, right thumb along the tailbone, line of force to the ganglion of impair, and with our left elbow, we're going to be moving that elbow in the lamina groove along the sympathetic chain from the shoulder all the way down to the sacrum. And then when we get to the sacrosatic notch, a wide, slow rocking as the client breathes out. So first we're going to be doing this 3 times, first on one side, then the other. And as we do it, we're going to be toning with the tone, ah, really yang sound sent deep into the elbow to resonate through the elbow energetically and through intention into the field to scatter the energy. Client and practitioner toning together right into that contact at the elbow to scatter the obsession, scatter the armoring, scatter the stagnant, blocked energy. So the first slide is going to be really gentle to make sure that nothing is that there are no vertebrae out, which could be painful. And if any of the vertebrae are painful, then you lighten up when the elbow gets to that vertebrae, because we're not here to inflict pain. This is a nonviolent therapy. So you're sliding the elbow from the shoulder in the laminar groove down to the sacroiliac notch. When you get to the sacroiliac notch, a very wide rocking using your elbow and thumb, wide rocking of the pelvis as the client takes a long, deep out breath. Then you move to the other side, and it's the same um, as the client tones with the tone ah. You move the elbow along the laminar groove. When you get to the sacroiliac notch, long, wide rocking. So we do this 3 times, one side, the other side, one times, total of 6 slides. Then we're going to hold the contact with the right hand, continuing to hold at the sacroiliac notch, um, and we spin around so that the left hand goes to the Achilles tendon, which is the negative field contact of the sympathetic nervous system. And we tone from the tailbone to the Achilles tendon. Again, on the other foot, same thing. Tone to the Achilles tendon. Later, we're going to be doing a 6-pointed star in this core session. And part of the 6-pointed star has to do with both releasing part of the 6-pointed star is going to have to do with both releasing the polarity between shoulder and hips, really powerful positive and negative fields in the macrocosm of the body. Again, here's our ganglion of impair for in sympathetic contact. In sympathetic contacts here in the hips and buttocks, shoulders, sympathetic ganglion. Um, and the polarity between the shoulder and the hips, these powerful fields of fiery energy, just really relax and open up and flow really powerfully, really easily. And in the 6-pointed star, we're going to be getting this release by holding contacts uh, uh, to the sacral parasympathetic nerves. So here we're talking about the spinal accessory nerves, which, so anytime we can make a contact here at the trapezius, we can access these spinal accessory nerves, and then we make a contact at the lateral margin of the sacrum, S2, 3, and 4. And working with this dynamic facilitates a profound parasympathetic state of deep, deep relaxation and well-being. So in this core session, we're going to be doing contacts at the atlanto-occipital release, which I'll show you hands-on, to restore the fluidity of the cranial sutures, the bones of the skull. Breathe, and one of the sphenoid suture is a fulcrum, but the occiput is a negative field of this and a limiting factor in this movement. So we have a contact that gets under the occiput and um, releases the holding in the atlas. There's some schools of chiropractic that just adjust the atlas and let everything else below come into harmony. So we have an energetic technique which allows the atlas to become fluid. We don't do adjustments or manipulations. We're not trained or licensed to do that, but we can release tension. And often there's a spontaneous self-correction. So we then go on to release the atlas. and then balance that to the perineum. Coccyx reflexes to sphenoid, occiput to sacrum, uh, and here you see the lumbar vertebrae. So these are the polarity reflexes of the spine. No part of the body operates in isolation. The body's breathing and the most fundamental dynamics of balance are a reflection of the breath. So anytime you're interested in working with the spine, it's really important to work with the polarity of the spine. In this case, we're balancing the coccyx with the sphenoid. We're releasing the sphenoid by working with the coccyx, the occiput to the sacrum, and L5 to C1. So in our ultrasonic core energy balancing session, um, it's very, very valuable if you're on a spiritual path, because often this holding at the occiput, this deep holding under the coccyx are not addressed. I've had students who gone to chiropractic college where they were worked on every day, every week, uh, thousands of times before they graduated, and it hadn't addressed the fluidity and the mobility uh, of the coccyx, which is the negative pole of this whole gestalt, of this whole system. And, uh, and once you establish that fluidity, tremendous shifts will happen above, that we're talking about spontaneous self-correction once you release the negative field. So Dr. Stone has a tremendous emphasis in his work on clearing the negative field. And again, we're talking about a field of life force energy, and we're talking about our hands are the most neutral expression of, are the most physical expression of the neutral energy, the most physical expression of the heart energy, of the source energy, that wherever we bring our hands, we're bringing the energy of the source and the entrainment of the source and the most physical expression of that source energy. So the combination of hands, breath, intention, and toning. In this session, we're going to be using toning, using the tone ah, which resonates with the nervous system, has a tremendous ability to just breathe, to radiate sonics and ultrasonics through the energy fields on cellular and molecular levels to really release very, very deeply. Because again, your voice is a microcosm of creation. The breath is the vehicle of creation. All the dynamics of the mystery are here in the breath. And this breath, again, is pregnant with your intention. And the breath addresses all of the koshas, all of the sheaths, all of the levels of vibration from matter to spirit. And the ultrasonics unleashed in your toning facilitate that. So, my friends, we've been talking about the ultrasonic core session, and in a few moments, God is willing, I'm going to demonstrate that session for you. So, this is the last in this series of 6 classes. To earn credit for this course, you need to do at least 2 of each of the, 12 sessions, 4 of each of the 3 sessions we've demonstrated, and you have a sheet which you can download to keep track of that. And then I will send you all a course evaluation so I can get some feedback on how you found this. And you have a year to complete this 12 sessions and get this form, these 2 forms back to me, and I'll be happy to give you a certificate of completion. I hope you found this work valuable. But again, the only way it becomes valuable is if you use it hands-on. It is the difference between eating a menu and eating the meal. So this is merely a menu. The power of this work is what you experience in your own body as you give it, and more importantly, your own body as you receive it. So if you find this work inspiring in any way, um, I would invite you to to hook up with a partner and learn this work. It's all here online, and give and receive it and enjoy its benefits. This is May of 2025. And at this point, it looks like I'm going to be hooking up with a school here in Arcata, California to do a hands-on course this fall. So if you're anywhere in Southern Oregon or Northern California and are not too far from Arcata, you might want to um, get on my mailing list. Email Bruce at weare1.us, Bruce at weare1.us, weare1.us, to find out more about opportunities of studying and learning this really blessed and wonderful and powerful work. So thank you very much for your focus and attention. Email me, Bruce at weare1.us, with your questions, WERE, the numeral 1.us, and God is blessed. Oh, you are my mother, you are my father, you are my lover, you are my friend, you are wisdom, you are riches, you are my all to me. You are my all, you are my all, you are my all to me. We dedicate our efforts to a vision of a springtime of humanity where all humanity makes a leap in consciousness and realizes the unity and divinity of all life, where we cherish our Mother Earth as our own dear mother, where we share with each other as brothers and sisters for all our relations. May heaven prevail on earth. God is blessed. Om Namah Shivaya.